Vlad was the second legitimate son of Vlad, who was the illegitimate son of. Okay, his father was the illegitimate son of
He
someone.
was young. He was young when he died too. 45, between 45 and 49. They got him pegged around that area.
Hmm. Yeah, and that was I don't know. I saw a lifespan expectancy like if you lived past childhood, because so many people died in childhood.
Right. He lived a
The
normal life.
average
70
the
years.
average life expectancy, I think it was in the 40s, 45, 50 almost in the time of Jesus. But if you lived past childhood, because the childhood death rate brings down the life expectancy
Actually, life
dramatically.
expectancy, they consider infant mortality mixed in among expected mortality completely.
Well, it depends. It
So if
depends.
you're, yeah,
But
so
like
if
if
you're at a
you
high
say a
infant death
baby
rate,
boy born now, I looked this up because I was wondering about having an old president. A baby born now, or did we look at? I think we looked it up together, didn't we? But a baby born now, a
I believe
baby
you said
boy
something,
born now in the States, I think his average life expectancy is 80 years old.
something like that. Yeah.
But when I was studying, back when I was studying statistics, there's these ways of calculating, okay, that's a baby boy. What if I'm a 20-year-old right now? How long should I live? And it would be like 81 years
Mhm.
because you already lived through some possible dangers. And then what if you're a 74-year-old now? What is your life expectancy? And generally, if you already lived through all those 74 years of dangers and diseases, you're probably already looking at 86, maybe 90 years old. I don't know. Like, like the two old guys that ran for president in your country. We elect
Right.
young people. I don't know about you guys. Next president is going to be 100
Apparently
years
we
old
do.
in the States.
All right. So I was just looking at that. What you said, um, at age 48, the average life expectancy is 31.43 years. So I'm 48. I can live another 31 years.
Yeah, that's the average. Yeah, something. Well, no. For what? Oh, maybe. Yeah, I might have got my numbers wrong. Maybe that's the Canadian one, and the American is a little bit lower. But okay, so yours right now is like, what does that mean?
79.
79 years old?
Yeah.
79. And it depends on family stuff too. Like, I've got a family that just doesn't live to be old. Like,
I'm
no one
sorry.
lives to be old. I have one grandmother, but she has fairly severe dementia since like 15 years, and she's probably
What's
90
the
now.
what's the average life expectancy in your family?
Is low. Like, I have one of my grandfathers. He died the year I was born, so in his 50s, of a
50.
brain aneurysm, I think. Another grandfather was pancreatic cancer, so it went real
Oh,
quick. Then a grandmother went by dementia and then cancer. And my other grandmother, but then I have a few people, they've had strokes in the family, a lot of brain
oh.
problems. And I already know I have brain problems. I have like a seizure disorder. So, you know, I just throw that into the calculation. I was like, you know what? My brain's probably going to explode sometime. I don't know how many days. I won't count my retirement savings until 80 years old. I don't think that's a wise investment. I think it's better to kind of, either put it into some
I'm sorry
savings
to hear.
bond for my kid or just have fun while we're here. You know what I mean?
Sorry to hear, Fraser.
No, it's fine. It's like that. What is the clarity? And I always said, like, these mathematics that I was learning, they give
Yeah.
you a little bit of a crystal ball, but it's on aggregate. And one of the things we definitely learned, it was like genetics is a huge factor, but a lot of places they're not legally allowed to ask you genetical questions. They can ask you kind of like vague
Okay.
questions about your
Yeah.
family history and stuff, but those are the most powerful indicators, or some of the most powerful indicators.
Of course. Yeah.
So to know that, it was like that crystal ball. And it was like, okay, well, now I know. It's not guaranteed either. It's not 100%. It's on
Right.
aggregate. People
You gotta
like
do
me in this
it.
situation. Maybe some people live to 90, and I'll be a George Burns smoking cigars like, I don't know what the fuck happened. My doctor told me I should stop drinking whiskey and smoking cigars.
Give me
And
the
he
same
died, and
pill.
I went to his funeral 20 years ago. Wasn't that a George Burns joke?
I don't know. I don't. God, I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. You expect me to remember
You
Joe?
remember George Burns, though. Like, he was just a
Of
super
course I
old
do.
guy,
Yeah.
always had a
Of
gigantic
course I
cigar. He was
do.
kind of a small guy, too, right?
Yeah.
I remember him
He
saying
was,
that joke one time. He was like, "My doctor told me to quit smoking and quit drinking, and I went to his funeral 20 years ago, kind of thing, or something like that, or 10 years ago." I thought it was
you gotta
funny.
remember, my parents had me when they're in the mid 30s, and they were born in 1936, 35, 36. So I had the benefit of learning about all these old time actors and the new
Yeah,
ones. They know about all these people. Well, let me get it done. This is no joke. I don't know if you ever heard this one. Like a doctor sees you for gives you a full exam. I said, Mr. Fraser, I have very bad news. I said, you have dementia. You have dementia. So you say, what's the other bad news? I said, you have cancer. So at least I don't have cancer.
that's good. No, that's exactly it. I think you have to face it with the humor that it deserves, because that's just it. Because that's no, that's good. Oh God, and it will. There's just funny things that happen with people in dementia. It's you don't want to
Yeah,
laugh at them. I mean, they're changing and they're losing themselves, but there are
my best
definitely
friend's
humorous
father.
moments that I mean you take advantage. And for me, my mom
Oh,
really
I'm
didn't
not
like
like
that.
humorist.
My mom hated that.
I,
She told me if I ever get to that point, put me out of my misery. Says I'm
yeah.
counting on you,
Yeah.
Fraser.
No, it gets bad.
Just if it gets bad, pull the plug. Do it if you have snuff me out. Don't let me get so like for her she's proper, so didn't want to be degraded or what is it called, incapacitated so much and not even
Yeah,
realize that you're walking around without clothes or whatever, something like this. Like I said, don't let me go like that. Kill me
right.
before I get there. Because
My
she
best
saw both
friend,
her mother and her stepmother, or no, her mother-in-law, go through that. You know what I mean?
my best friend's father had dementia, died of Alzheimer's disease. I think he was 18 months, 2 years. I think he was had when he had it. He was like 70 when he was diagnosed. I think 72 when he passed away, something like that in that area. And his mother's still alive. His mother's well into her 80s right now, 85, 86. And this is the poor guy passed away 3 years ago of cancer himself, only at the age of 44. So you never know. You never know
Oh,
when
and that's
God.
just it. That's just it. If I calculate my thing, okay, I don't have 80 years, say I have 65 years. And then I plan to that and die tomorrow because I'm walking across the street not paying attention, thinking about my 60th birthday party. That's yeah, you can never know. You just never know. And these statistical things, again, they're vague enough. They're amazingly predictive in that insurance companies. I remember when I was studying it, I came out and there was the World Trade Center disasters, and a lot of places suddenly. So it was like the biggest single loss in terms of insurance ever. The value of insurance that got lost that day. I think I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember. I think he claimed twice, like two different insurances, something like
I
this.
think
And so it was like a huge insurance claim, whether it was one or
yeah,
two, I can't remember.
it's close
But
to $1 trillion. I think it was right.
the insurance industry never went into the red. It always stayed in the black. An event that could not have been predicted, well, maybe, but it wasn't in the models. The fact
Yeah,
that the insurance, like they can predict so well and under extreme scrutiny, the actuaries are the ones that actually calculate the probability of death for a given cohort.
right.
They will sign off on their calculations, and someone can come in and review it, and they will lose their credentials. It'll be like a doctor in malpractice. You know what? This is what I was studying to be. I never worked in that, but that was what I was studying to be, an actuary.
Oh,
But
it's always
but it's
complicated.
very restrictive. So they have to calculate the probability of you dying, and within that, you're allowed to add maybe 10% profit to say that okay, on average, you and your cohort will make it to 79 years old. So if we give you an insurance that pays, $100 a month or whatever, that's worth $100,000, we're allowed to charge you $110 a month for that $100,000 insurance. So that we make
Right.
$110,000, you make $100,000, we win every time, every
My
single time.
my uncle has an annuity that pays a certain amount. I'm
Yeah.
not quite sure what it is. He actually bought it because He got into money. He's very bad with budgeting, so he wants something that would last his lifetime. They actually do the same thing. They calculate your
Yeah.
life expectancy against what the amount of money you put in to pay you every year. So let's say they guarantee you. Let's say you put $100,000 today. They guarantee you $1,000 a month until X day, which is would leave them 10%. So let's say 1,000 months. Let's say would be 1,000 months, 100 months, right? 100 months. So they guarantee you 90 months.
Yeah.
And if you make it to 90 months, you break even. You die before then, they make more money. If you die past what they figure you're going to live,
They make
every
yeah.
cent they give you is their loss. So,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
annuity companies come very, very close too. I don't know their margin of error, but they can't have a very big one, or they wouldn't be making money.
No, but it's one of those fields that it's illegal to add too much extra. Like it's not like banks. Banks can charge you 10% or can charge you 2%. But
Yeah,
when it comes to insurance and annuities, it's the same field effectively. That
yeah,
you're just allowed to add so much. And though I mean people cheat on it and they add extra factors in.
sure.
Following 9/11, I remember there was a story came out and the insurance companies put in a factor to add in like in any city in the states, it became exorbitantly expensive to insure a building. They put it at like it's a one in a
Wow.
hundred chance that a
Yeah,
plane's going to ram into a building, so you have to pay insurance for that 1 in 100 chance. I say it ridiculously like that, but you know what I mean? It was like
yeah, yeah.
there's probably not gonna, there might be a maybe statistically speaking another one might arrive in 10 years, but one plane per 1 million buildings, and yet they were putting the expected value at much higher than it could have been. But because it had never happened before, who was to call them on it? How can you
It
say no,
happened
that's
before.
not a real calculation, right?
It happened before. 1938, a plane flew into the Empire State Building.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. So, but again, that's 1938 to 2001. Like we're talking once every
right?
60 years. No, but maybe it could have come like in the next year was just this raining down of planes falling in every city. But
Actually, I'm going to look at the exact year.
yeah,
But that, it's a rarity. I mean, I think that the plane crash in 1945. I think this plane crash was an accident. The guy lost control of his plane. Yeah, he was
okay.
flying in thick fog. He couldn't see the building.
He couldn't see it. Wow. That's a big
Yeah, so
thing
that
to
was.
miss. We need some good
And
head.
it was a B-52 bomber, B-25 bomber. The Empire State Building, was built with so many redundancies
Yeah.
that it didn't collapse. Of course, there was major damage, but it wasn't structural damage. It was all pretty much cosmetic.
Yeah.
Um,
Redundancies are key. I mean, when you don't have redundant, we're going to build it just strong enough. Just strong enough. Well, a big gust of wind will put the thing down. Yeah.
and that was
Redundancies
the
are a good
problem with the
idea.
World Trade Center.
Yeah.
No redundancy. There was no redundancy in the construction.
Yeah. No, it was, and now they have the tallest building in the world. I hope it's strong. Don't you? Or not in the world, in the States. Isn't the New World Trade Center, it's
What's it called? I can't think of it now.
the one tower, or no, what is
Freedom
it?
Tower.
Freedom Tower. But
Oh, I think.
anyways, yeah, no, but that's
Let's
not.
check something. Let me go to the bathroom. Hold on. Oh boy, what a stink. What died in your ass? Holy moly! He farted! And the smell! It's burning my nose hair!
You thought it was a fresh
Yeah!
it was a fart.
Holy crap!